In 2022, James Watt and BrewDog announced that he was giving away £100 million worth of shares to staff. Then the company proceeded to set up an employee benefit trust that's super weird, like 2 months later, and even less than a year later, the profit share schemes also announced at that time were scrapped. The question is, how many times can BrewDog promise to be an exceptional employer, promising exceptional value to employees, and then proceed to fail to deliver? How many times can that happen?
This is part B of part 3. Make sure you head to our highlight reel to watch part A. We are picking up right where we left off, when Brian Simpson first contacted current CEO James Arrow about the EBT.
I need to watch what I'm saying here because the company is refusing to answer any questions on this. Now, if this were a company that had not done and tried to get away with all of the things that we've outlined, then you might believe that they've just forgotten to submit the accounts. But this is a multinational company with many accountants, many lawyers, many very well-paid professionals, quote unquote, who know stuff needs to be done. They know that this is a legal requirement. Why would they not lodge the paperwork for? So we highlighted that to James Arrow himself. And when was it? 24 hours, 48 hours later, suddenly on Companies House, that had been updated. Now, that tells me two things: that the CEO of BrewDog is listening to what we're saying. They might not be responding, but they are acting upon the issues that we are raising, and they are trying to fix the problem, albeit without any union or worker involvement.
So, Brian contacts James Arrow, the current BrewDog CEO, with concerns, and in the next 48 hours, suddenly the pending dissolution has been addressed. Then, on October 15, 2024, because nothing had been done, the company was again issued a notice for dissolution. Finally, on the 9th of December 2024, 6 days before the dissolution deadline, the company files accounts. As of today, the trust is still solely controlled by BrewDog, and I want to point out that I've been asking questions about this for several months. So why would it be surprising that James, in the very month that we said Supercook Corporate Conspiracy, the original podcast, was coming, would plant a story centering around capital gains tax when indeed I questioned the formation of the EBT and the consequences for employees and lack of independence? When they announced the blueprint, they also announced a transparency dashboard that I think was updated twice. And I think that speaks to the situation at hand. You say you are transparent to avoid providing transparency. And while it would be playing into BrewDog's hands to accuse them of something specific, it just seems like a company with everything in order and a commitment to transparency could easily clear this up or fix glaring issues. Not even with me, but with their own employees or the union official representing members asking questions about it. Here is Brian once again.
But I don't think they are fixing it, certainly not in a fundamental way. This isn't just employment law we're talking about here. This has tax implications, it has business law implications, right up to the senior management and CEO of the company can be held liable for failures in reporting or governance of the company. That all has consequences for people like James Arrow. As I said before, the money isn't there. The money has not been transferred as promised. The money trickling down from the top has existed in the BrewDog DNA since the start. They've always promised some kind of profit or income turnover share going back to the workforce. There's very little of them that still exist, but the people who start and became middle managers have left because financial promises that they were made as both middle management employees and small shareholders have vanished. They don't exist. I've spoke to members who have left tens of thousands of pounds, have left the company because they're tens of thousands of pounds out of pocket because the returns they were promised, and I don't mean like the shareholder returns they were promised by the flotation, the promises they were directly made by senior people within the company, the PR and the press stuff that went out from people like James Watt, it does not exist.
It is also important to point out that the HMRC is taking very seriously the EBTs, especially depending how they are established, are more and more frequently being misused by companies for tax avoidance purposes. For example, right here where they say the values of shares issued can be manipulated. Of course, James Watt isn't the type of guy to publicly claim to be interested in tax avoidance, especially for his failing business. Promise after promise to employees have failed to come to fruition. And to put them in an uncertain situation, to offload those shares in what seems like an impulsive decision to get ahead of bad news without any consideration for long-term adjustments, for the environment, for what is actually happening in the world around you, In my opinion, that is ripping employees off at best. It also raises questions of corporate governance. Are you incompetent? What makes you think you can make these promises when the financial performance of your company was indeed so bad? I can't say it is a scam, but what is the legal term for promising something that you don't deliver? Next up, we're going to spend some time with Mr. Watt, getting to know him in both the past and the present, before unpacking the conspiracy he definitely didn't make up, even though the accused had never met until after they accused him. Now, isn't that just really giving some super cooked corporate conspiracy?